of live broadcasting, one of the best to do it. Joining us right now on the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Giants and Angels must-see TV tonight. And, of course, this wonderful woman will be bringing you the pre- and post-game from NBC Sports Bay Area. Laura Britt joining us. Laura, it's Jay and FPJ. How you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on, guys. I'm excited to be with you.
Laura, I'm so excited to have you. We worked together at NBC Sports, and I was on the production side of things, but I just want to ask you this question so everybody knows how hard you work. You're one of the hardest working women in sports. You're taking care of kids. You're running all over the place. You're doing your makeup. You're putting on clothes. You're doing all these different things all the time. Can you take us through a typical day at NBC Sports before a show?
Oh, how much time do we have? You've seen the behind the scenes. I think a lot of people, everybody's out there. You've got lives to live and busy lives at that. So there's a lot that goes into a show that people, I don't think, realize. We've got everybody from editors, associate producers, production assistants, producers, the on-air talent. You've got people running the cameras, so directors, audio personnel, and just, there's a lot of people involved in what goes on with what we do. And that's all behind the scenes. And I don't think those people get enough credit. You see what appears on your television and you think, oh, these people just come sit down and start talking. It's a whole day affair. So I guess it all starts in the morning. We have a text thread. We used to do Zoom meetings. We actually used to do in-person meetings, but then when COVID happened, we started to do Zoom meetings, and now it's just easier with everybody's busy lives to do text threads. So our producer starts texting us in the morning, the day of a show, and we start throwing out ideas about topics that we'd like to talk about, anything interesting that we've seen. Somebody finds a crazy video, anything like that goes on the text thread. So throughout the day, our producer begins to build the show. Then we come in and we study a lot of game notes. So that's actually what I was currently doing right before I got on with you guys, is just looking over game notes for today and then going in and starting to write the show. And that's another thing people I don't think realize is everything that we do at NBC Sports Bay Area in California is all ad lib. So there's no teleprompter reading. It's all free flow show. So it's all got to come from your brain. So you really got to be on it. But yes, I do. I think a lot of women always ask me and are surprised to find out that I do my own hair and makeup. I don't have a stylist. It's all part of the deal. So I come in, I usually do my hair and makeup at home and all of that, pick out outfits and all that. But yeah, it's a big chunk of my day that nobody knows about. It's about 2 hours of my day to get ready to be on TV.
It's just not a typical 9 to 5, right?
No, not at all. And I do typically try and get in about my in time. Now, before that is the 2 hours before getting ready, hour and a half of getting ready. But I try and be in about 2 hours before the show, so before we go on air. So we can talk to tonight, for instance, we've got a full host of characters on our show tonight. We've got Ron Wotus, Alex Pavlovich, and Carlos Ramirez, and then I'll be hosting. So 4 people at the table. We always try and discuss topics and how can we best set people up and all of that. So that'll all be happening over the next 2 hours. And then at 6, we'll see you on TV.
Laura Britt joining us today. And again, she will be hosting pre and post Giants Angels tonight on NBC Sports Bay Area. And I'm glad you have your game notes in front of you because I found this to be interesting. Obviously, we have the River Cats up here in Sacramento, the Giants AAA affiliate. Heliot Ramos has been mashing the ball lately, and he gets the late call-up tonight versus the Angels. This is a guy that's been a top prospect in the Giants organization now for a few seasons, but hasn't really been quite able to crack the major league rotation. In your opinion, why is that?
I think a lot of those things, I've talked to Farhan Zaidi a lot this season. We've had 2 sit-downs with him on Giants Talk, the podcast that we do, that I jump on with Alex Pavlovich sometimes. And I think it's easy to get lost in some of these rookies, like Patrick Bailey, for instance, who's come up to the majors and is clearly ready for that level. There's so much more that goes into it. As both of you know, there's a lot of movement that has to happen. Typically, it's somebody getting hurt. AJ Pollock yesterday, which is why he was called up, Heliot Ramos, because there's a roster spot available. So you've got there has to be availability. So typically, that is somebody getting injured. Who knows the amount of time? It depends on what it is. But I think that's why you're seeing a lot of these players come up, these young guys come up, get sent back down. Sometimes, like we just saw with Casey Schmidt, he gets called up. He was really hot to start and then really cools off and has to figure things out. He's got to tweak some things. Tweaking is not best done at the major league level. Tweaking is better done in AAA, where you don't have all the eyeballs. You don't have major league pitchers that you're going up against every night to figure you out. So I think that's why you're seeing some up and down, and why you think, oh, well, this guy should just stay here. Well, there's a lot more that goes into it. And Major League Baseball, it's a long game. This is not the 5K. This is the marathon. So these guys have a long road to get here, and then you can't think short term. If a guy's not ready for the majors, he doesn't need to be here right now. He needs to go down and get the coaching at a level where there aren't a bunch of eyeballs and the pressure isn't on you as much.
Laura, you've been around the team a lot this season. Can you talk about what you see at the yard every day, what you see in the clubhouse, what you see in the dugout that maybe others don't see?
Yeah, I ask this question a lot to the guys when I'm talking with them, especially some of the veterans, just about how the camaraderie's been between the younger guys and the older players. And I think this is a really unique situation, and it's kind of a fine line to walk, because you see with a team like the Padres, you get a bunch of talent, but it doesn't necessarily mesh. Clearly the results aren't meshing. And I think that goes back into what's happening at the clubhouse. And these guys are all that they have a great time together. The veteran players have really embraced these younger guys. And I don't know if that's coming across on TV or not. I don't think you necessarily get to see them interact that much in the dugout when you're watching a Giants game. And so I think that's probably the number one thing that stands out to me about this team, is just how effortless the rookies and the veterans are getting along, and how important it is for young guys to be able to have veterans to go ask questions to, and have veterans that aren't too prideful to share their knowledge of the game. One of the things that stands out to me the most, I don't know if you guys are watching that game where Casey Schmidt was at short and Brandon Crawford was sitting on the dugout steps, and Casey Schmidt sits down next to him, and he had just missed a play at short, Casey Schmidt did, and they're discussing, what's the best way to approach what just happened. And Brandon Crawford, so gracious in sharing his knowledge. So I think that's one thing that you might not get to see all the time on TV. I'm trying to think of something fun, like behind the scenes fun. It's pretty laid back. I mean, you guys know that. It's baseball, the guys are there for so long, as opposed to other sports. These guys come in, I think they're in a lot more meetings in other sports. For baseball, you're at the yard all day. So
Yeah.
It's pretty laid back, and everybody's just pretty chill. The conversation is pretty casual. It's very laid back.
Laura Britt from NBC Sports Bay Area joining us on the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. You mentioned the laid-back environment and the good rapport that the rookies and the veterans have, and I think that's so important when you look at the overall performance of this team this year. Look, there was a lot of people that at the beginning of the season said this is a Padres-Dodgers division. The Giants didn't do enough in the offseason to even compete for a wild card spot, but here they are in the wild card race with one of the slots not locked up, obviously, but they have a nice, healthy couple games lead. What do you attribute most to, though, positionally? Because there's no superstars on this team, as to why this team has been able to win at the rate they have this season.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I've talked to both Gabe Kapler and Farhan Zaidi that have spoken about this, and it's a selfless factor, because one of the differences in this team this season, as your listeners know and you two know, is they're using a lot of bullpen games. Well, that requires buy-in from your starting pitchers. Not every starting pitcher in Major League Baseball wants to do that and wants to serve in that role. This team is sure every starting pitcher, I would assume, would most likely rather and prefer to serve in a starter's role, but they have been asked to serve in other ways. I think that's a good overall summary of what's making this team work, is its selflessness. So when somebody's down, we've seen Wilmer Flores carry this team offensively for the past month and a half. It's been that way this season, where when players are down, I think when a lot of those rookies came up, Schmidt and Bailey, a lot of the veterans were struggling at the plate. Then the rookies picked them up, and now some of the rookies are struggling at the plate, and you've got Flores picking them up. So it's been this really nice yo-yo factor, or I guess balancing scale, where when one aspect of the game's down, the other's up. And I was just in the game notes today, I was taking a look at something that I found to be really interesting, because the offense has kind of come back alive over the past few games, which wasn't the case a week or two ago. But the pitching now is starting to dip, which is why we saw the Giants lose yesterday. They had a bullpen game, 4 runs in the first inning. You're not going to win a lot of games like that. Well, that was due to the pitching. Well, the pitching's been carrying the team when the offense has been down. So it's been this balancing scale. But I do think I don't want to say they're overperforming, but most people, and a lot of people had, I think I don't know if the Vegas odds had the Diamondbacks, I think most odds had the Giants finishing 4th in the division. So that was behind the Dodgers, the Padres, and the Diamondbacks. So they're overperforming in that sense, but today is game 115 of 162, so there's still plenty of baseball to, figure this out.
Laura, I have to ask this. You're training for a marathon, the giant race that will take place on September.
No, it's not a marathon. I'm training for a 10K.
Okay, 10K.
Whatever,
it's a marathon
you're running a lot, yeah.
That's a marathon to me.
If I'm running a marathon, come check on my mental health.
Laura, we get winded walking up the stairs. The fact that a 10K, again,
that's ridiculous.
When you're using the word miles, it's all the same to us.
It's all the same to us, okay? So
do not sign me up for a marathon, you two. Okay? Do not do it.
Okay, I just want to ask you, how the heck is that going?
It's actually going great. You guys should join. You want to come run a 10K with me on Sunday, September 3rd?
I'm actually kind of down. I'm in Walnut Creek. I actually might join you.
Sorry, I take the Charles Barkley approach on this. I don't run because it makes me tired.
Oh, come on. Join the party. We've got a whole crew coming. But any of your listeners, if they want to join, so it's the giant race. So you're going to finish at Oracle Park, like on the field. You actually finish the race on the field. I haven't ran a 10K, which is 6.2 miles for all of those that don't know, because I didn't know before I signed up for it. I was like, it's 6-ish. But the 0.2 becomes a big factor when you're trying to make it to the finish line. But I was looking for a 10K because I haven't run one since before my first was born. I've got 3 kids, and my oldest is 6, about to be 7. So it's been 7 years since I've run this many miles at a time. And I wanted a challenge, and I was looking around, and I saw that the Giants had this one, and I was like, you know what? Why not? There's no time like the present. So if you guys want to sign up, the Giants actually gave me a minor discount code, BP with Britt. If you want to join, come join. I'm so serious, FP Junior. You got to come.
Okay, I'm in. Honestly, I think I will. I think FP Senior might be out there too. So.
I will make the signs and cheer you guys on.
Okay, perfect.
It better be the best sign and the biggest sign ever.
I'm not a great artist. I can't tell you it'll be the best sign, but I'll make sure it's the biggest. That I can do.
The effort. We just want the effort there.
A for effort. Well, Laura, you do an amazing job every game, pre and post for the San Francisco Giants on NBC Sports Bay Area. Obviously a great one tonight. Ohtani on the mound against the Giants. Really appreciate you taking time out of your schedule today to join us, talk a little Giants baseball.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Yeah, this is must-watch TV tonight, so I hope all of you guys will tune in tonight. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Laura.
No problem. That was Laura Britt from NBC Sports Bay Area joining us on the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. We talked about it with Ohtani on the mound tonight. Could this be the last time the Giants face